Welcome to the Business Playbook with Adam Sinclair of Sinclair Removals. We're here at the Bean Tin in Stirling, which is one of Adam's many businesses. We're going to get right into his story. I can't wait for you to hear it. We've just recorded it. We recorded it outside. It rained, it didn't rain. We had to keep swapping back and forward. Brilliant podcast. I hope you really enjoy it. We're sponsored today by A1 SEO, putting you at the top of Google. And the Business Playbook is brought to you by Alleyoop. We're a performance marketing agency. We put your brand in front of people who are searching for your brand, whether they know they're searching for your brand or not. Please subscribe to the channel so you can see things coming. Follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Instagram, coming soon on TikTok. We're all over. We're going to be all over it. So if you enjoy it, please share it with someone and enjoy this episode of the Business Playbook. Welcome to the Business Playbook and welcome to Stirling County Rugby Club, where I think it's possibly just started raining. Welcome Adam Sinclair onto the podcast. We were going to get rid of, it definitely is raining by the way, there's raindrops on my laptop, so this podcast will definitely move inside the Bean Tin at some point throughout the podcast. I was thinking about getting rid of the have you got your shit together question, because we've done it quite a lot in pretty much every episode. However, this podcast was meant to start at 1 o'clock. It's now 3 o'clock because I forgot the microphones. Hired the microphones last night and had to nip away and grab the microphones because I forgot them. So I definitely haven't got my shit together. But you, Adam, have got various businesses. You've got 23 trucks and vans. You've got 32 staff. You've got over 1,000 storage containers, 600 of them indoor in self-storage buildings. You've got Stirling Sinclair Removals, Edinburgh Self Storage, Britannia Edinburgh Removals, Stirling Self Storage, Glen Transport Removals, Letford Removals, Larbert Carriers Removals, the Bean Tin that we're sitting in here, and we're going to explain the context around that. You turn over £2.6 million a year with a 43% net profit, and you're a soon-to-be sheep farmer. Have you got your shit together?
Don't know yet. I don't. Could be. Maybe that. Have you ever got your shit together? I suppose is the right answer.
Exactly.
No, I don't think so. But
we've interviewed people from 50 million pound businesses right down to kind of like one-man bands, and everybody says the same.
Yeah.
So
See how the sheep turn out. I go into the field one day and they're on the backs, then they'll probably say no.
When I've just laid that out, the number of businesses, the number of brands, kind of how much you've got going on.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, what's this guy's story? So just start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Pre-business.
Yeah.
You are a professional rugby player.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to be a professional rugby player.
Okay. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah.
How you kind of moved into the business world.
Yeah. So I left school. I went to South Africa at 18. Mm-hmm. I got a scholarship to Loreto from Bannockburn, which is a story in its own. How you go from Bannockburn to Loreto.
So Loreto's a private school in Edinburgh?
Yeah, private school in Edinburgh. Really good private school, boarding school. And
were you boarding?
I was boarding.
Right, cool.
Really enjoyed it. Went from Bannockburn, which is like a working class town. Yep. You're basically out fighting on a Friday night. The Battle of, yeah, basically. And then got a scholarship there, and I was in chapel on the Monday morning. I remember walking down past Lucas in Musselburgh, and there was these boys shouting across the road, "Here you posh see," and I was looking around. And I was like, I said to them, who they talking to? They're talking to you. I turned around and looked across the road at them. I was like...
And do you think that's the stigma that's carried from the private school?
Yeah, it is. And it was funny because I was probably on the other side of the road the previous Friday. So, it was good. But then went there, really good. It really helped me a lot. Really enjoyed it. I loved it, actually. And then got my connection with coach from there. Had connections to push me over to Western Province in South Africa. Mm-hmm. Hadn't been further in Mallorca. Mm-hmm. So going to Cape Town at 18 to live playing rugby was really cool. Some of the best rugby academy in the world in terms of what they produce. Most Springboks. Mm-hmm. A lot of the guys I played with now are a few of them are now Springboks and double world champions, and go there. When I was there, I selected for Scotland 20s, a year young, and then played 2 years, and then some French teams started calling, which I thought was boys taking the piss in the hotel, so I kept hanging up on them. And then these South African agents turned up at the hotel saying that yeah, you need to stop hanging up. There's some French teams wanting to sign you.
They actually want to sign you.
And I said, right, okay. I was meant to stay in South Africa for a year, and then I signed to Perpignan and went down there for 2 years.
Right.
That was pretty cool. And then so packed my bags back to Scotland and straight over to France.
One of the things I'm quite keen to ask about is like from your rugby career.
Yeah.
I think we could probably come back to this, but like your learnings from being a rugby player at a decent level, and what do you then take into business, and what kind of pulls through into the way you run your businesses that you learnt from that side rugby?
So that's interesting. People always talk about the disciplines that you have from sport and the things that you do, and like the early starts, the extra training, all the extra parts that you do. So if I was being completely honest, it's what I didn't do that I took into business. So I had every opportunity that most guys, even in professional, didn't get. Different teams want to sign me, different things were happening, but I wasn't being the best professional I could be.
Right,
I was going on the piss before trainings. I was fighting in nightclubs and doing stupid things, or I wasn't giving my 100% compared to the other guys what they were doing.
Right.
So I had some of the best coaches in the world who are now some of the best coaches in the world that were signing me, and I wasn't doing it. So going into business, I looked at myself and what I didn't do right, and I thought, I'm never ever going to let that happen again.
Do you regret that? Do you regret that? With like now that obviously you've done really well in business, but do you regret not having given 100% then, when you had the opportunity with rugby? Are you quite happy with the way that it's turned out?
There's some things I wouldn't change. I met a lot of people because of the social side of it that I did, but I do regret it. I think I let down a lot of people, a lot of teammates down,
right,
who went on to have really good careers, and I maybe let down some coaches that
invested all their time
into you, and because they believed that I could have went a lot further, but look, you learn from it and you move on. But I really looked at myself and thought what not to do.
Was there anything that really drove that from the rugby player who didn't give 100% to the businessman who wants to give 100%? Is there anything that really drove that?
In terms of like
was there I know you've got kids now, and is there anything like that you go actually? What made you said you looked at yourself? What made you look at yourself?
I think to be honest, it's the failure. Like
failure in rugby.
Failure in rugby, like when you didn't achieve what you were expected to achieve, or what you could have achieved with the support you had. Because it wasn't as if you were against it and you didn't have this, you didn't get a chance there. I got given every single chance you could get in different parts of the world, not just in Scotland. So it's taking that on and being like, right, I'm not going to be a failure. I want to, when I walk into somewhere in a couple of years' time, people going, know what, he didn't do well there, but I tell you what, he's really done well now. And I want people.
Did you feel like you didn't do well, even though considering you went over the world and played at a decent level for? I
think maybe a bit harsh on myself, but I think
maybe just not achieved your full potential.
I know I didn't, and to any other kid that's doing it and playing, and that would have been their dream to go these places and play those places and be involved in those places. But I think that to my standards and what I should have done, what was the opportunities I was given, I didn't, and I think from not utilising that, I think I owed it to everybody around me in terms of family, friends, peers, to know what, go and do really well in business, because I want to kind of pay back to them to say that it wasn't a waste of going to Loreto for a scholarship, wasn't a waste of time. A waste of time. So no, it was good, but just being honest. Yeah.
So how did that rugby career end, and then was there anything in between that and starting up in business? Did you work a job? Was there anything like in between, or
no? So went to France, 4 years there. Was down in Bristol, and then London and Rotherham.
Right.
Came back over for France because I wanted to get in the pipeline for other things back home, and then just had a really bad season. But in terms of wasn't fit, wasn't performing, and I'd been on loan to 3 different clubs in one season,
right.
Which are bouncing about, and I thought, right, I'm going to take a year out and start a business. And I was in my mate's, who's now actually my right hand man for my business, believe it or not. I was in his house, and I was drawing a sketch. What are you doing? He's Welsh. He's like, what are you doing, bud? And I was like, I'm fucking sketching out of van. I'm going to start a removals company.
So removals just like there's no reason.
From moving about, I saw.
Of course, right. So you've moved about all over. I
saw all these things. I thought I could do a removal company.
Right.
I was like, I'm going to buy a van.
Right. And were you planning on just you doing it yourself? You in a van?
Just winging it. See what happens. Right. So I had some money left over. I had like.
I was going to say, you said some money.
Yeah.
Not talking a huge amount of money left over.
No, it wasn't on big contracts or big money at all when I was playing. So I'd like. I think I had like 20 grand left over. Right. After young guy out the piss, doing lots of sort, you just spend your money. Right. And so by the time I bought my van, I had 8,000 left. By the time I did the signage down, so suddenly I had everything left. I had maybe 3 grand left. Right. So I went out and started this. So I'm taking a year out when I started Removals. People thought it was crazy, and they thought, what's he doing? Right.
Was it like the rugby community?
A lot of guys, friends, and not just rugby boys. And
what's he doing?
I had an offer to go back to play in the second division in France, and I turned it down. Right. And so we're going to do this for a year and set it up and go back maybe. Mm-hmm. And then I actually realised.
How old are you at this point?
20, just coming up 24.
Right.
And so I was still quite young, and people thought that.
Just for context, how old are you now?
I'm 31.
31.
So, yeah. Right. So I realised I was enjoying what I was doing. Mm-hmm. So it was like I found business, and I was like out speaking to people. I was out doing deals. I was out doing different things. I was like, I felt like this is what I enjoy most. Right. I didn't enjoy the pressure of bouncing club to club at rugby and doing all these things. And even though I loved rugby and enjoyed it, it was a big part of me. It gave me the opportunities to where I am now. Right. I didn't enjoy it, but so I got in there and went and bought my first van.
So you bought your first van. How did you get your first job? What's the process of I'm going to start a removals company to I'm moving somebody into their new house? How did you? Do you remember how you actually got that first job? What the first job was?
I went to the first job. I went and got wee brochures made up, wee leaflets. Oh, yeah. Edited them a bit so that I could put them through doors. I just went chapping every door. I went on Rightmove and looked at all the houses for sale, and I actually chapped the doors and just gave them a brochure and says removal company.
People who were selling the house, you got on
sale sign. Brilliant. I had my shirt on, my chinos. I went out smart. I just went round every house I could find until I got a job. The first job, I look back on it, there's no way I made any money. I think I actually made minus £100, but I didn't know how to price it.
Of course.
And I got my dad to help me.
So you and your dad just
did my first job,
okay,
and no idea how to stack a vehicle. Just completely.
That's something that I couldn't believe when I moved house and got a removal company to come in when I done my second house move. First house move I done myself. Second house move I was like, they managed to get like my whole house into half a van. Yeah. Like because like you say, been able to been really good at Tetris.
Yeah. So it's a real skill, to be fair. Aye. When they're stacking it, base box, all your loose stuff up the top. Aye. We call it loose stuff. The boys in the job will call it shite. So we call it items. Aye. Items and shite. There's a lot of items in that house.
Now, a big part of the reason why I reached out to you and wanted to come on the podcast, I seen your post on LinkedIn about the kitchen deliveries of your vans. Yeah. So, can you tell us that story? So I read that story, and I read it to a couple of mates. I was like, listen to this is brilliant. So, can you tell us that story first of all?
Yeah, so basically, I went around every industrial estate in Stirling, and I know where every shop is and every unit is in Stirling because I've been around everyone and chapped every one of their doors. So I went around, chapped all the doors. I may have hit about 100, and I think it was like the 97th. I got there talking to a guy. He was ex-army, liked rugby. He was like, look, we need kitchens getting delivered, and I said, right, I can do them. So
in your removals, you can't start removals until 9 o'clock.
Well, usually can't start till 9. So I thought, can I get in here at 7? And they went, yeah, you can get here at 7. I said, can I load it late at night? And they was like, yeah, you can load it late at night. Then I could start it early and get there for 7. Mm-hmm. So he gave us some site contracts and to go and do, and they were like, I'd go and deliver a kitchen up 4 floors. Because the lifts weren't put in yet, and then I'd go and I'd get paid £250 to go and do it. But you had your man to pay, your fuel, and then I'd go and do a full removal for the day after. Yeah. And I'd do that every day, 6 days a week.
So that's the dead time between 7 in the morning and 9 in the morning, where you can't really work removals because it's too noisy, or people are in their beds or
just
whatever,
getting ready
to move. So you can't do anything before 9, so you've kind of made use of that time.
Yeah. And
you use that to then finance
my next vehicle.
Vans.
So I worked it out. If I keep doing that for 3 months, I could buy another van outright second hand, a good one. Do another 3 months. So suddenly by the end of the year, I had 4 vans. I had 3 vans and a 7.5 ton truck. Bought outright.
Just off the back of the kitchen deliveries in the morning.
Just doing that, and then have my removal stuff as my pay stuff and stuff to put in there, and then I could then finance that, because like my granddad always told me, like, don't put too much in finance, don't owe in the bank too much, because it will let you grow. And old school sometimes is the best, to be honest, because I look back on that and I think that's what really helped me, because I didn't owe too much, I wasn't under pressure to pay it back, and I was able just to grow organically. And done it that way.
You've done that the way you've built the businesses. So I said to you that I mentioned that you were coming on the podcast, and somebody said to me, how's he financing all that? He's acquiring all these businesses, he's buying this, he's buying that. How's he financing that? Has he got wealthy parents, or is he taking on investment? Like, what? How's he actually? But you've bootstrapped the whole lot and just kind of drafted and saved and invested.
Oh, everything. And I find what I identified as well is there's a big baby boom generation that are now retiring. And they've got really good businesses, but they're not big enough for fund companies to buy them. And they're too expensive for younger people to buy over. So I identified a lot of them, and I chap a lot of doors.
So let's choose a couple of examples. So of the businesses that you've got, the likes of Glen, Letford, Larbert, is that
baby boom businesses,
right?
People from the baby boom period.
Right. So these people are what they're looking for. They're looking to try and wind down. They want to maybe step aside from their business, and they're looking to offload it.
And I could strike up a better deal then.
Because they're more motivated to sell it.
More motivated to sell it. Not for big. I could do a deal here for that. Take their men on. It's a big thing because you've got.
That's it. They don't want to let people down, so they're probably still working long beyond they've planned to. Because they've got 5 people that they need to pay.
Paying exactly, and chew pay and all these things that have been there for a while. So you take all them. So it's good for them. Keep the business name going on, because two of the businesses have got 50 years old.
So is that the reason why you've continued these brands on? Because when I look at, because the businesses are all in a similar sector, if you were to actually roll those businesses into one, you would have one mammoth brand that you could then, it would be cheaper to promote. It would have, you'd have more vans on the road that are all that uniform brand. As a branding guy, I would go, let's roll them all into one and keep it. But you've got 50 years of legacy on some of these brands. So is that why you've kept them on, or is that part of the contract that when you bought them over?
They said you can call them what you want. They said if you want to change them, you can do what you want. But for me,
there's a lot of equity in the brands, and people are phoning up.
50 years means something to people, like their mum, their gran moved with them. You know what I mean? And when you're moving house, it's very personal, sentimental, because if they go, well, you moved me in here, I'd like you to move me out. Or think so. Sometimes putting your ego to one side and going, I want to have a truck saying my second name on it.
You were saying, so part of the reason you were saying that Sterling Sinclair. Sterling Sinclair. They asked you what the Sterling is. There's not like another business partner, Sterling.
No, people say that to me. It's like, who's Sterling? So Sterling's like the pound sterling. So I just thought, call it Sterling, because from the day I bought my first vehicle, I knew it wasn't just going to be based out of Stirling. It's going to be all over. Which is, people say, that's a bit arrogant there, but I knew my ambition. So if I called it Stirling, people then, it's only in Stirling. So if you call it Sterling, it could be anywhere. So I called it Sterling Sinclair, just because of that. And
you went with SSR for a while, but you've reverted back.
SSR stands for Sterling Sinclair Removals. But it's got the Sterling Sinclair at the top and the SSR at the bottom, and it's removal, shipping and storage, so Sterling Sinclair.
So we were talking about the early days. Tell me about hiring a van and stickering it up. Can you tell us that story?
So obviously I'm going around dropping brochures off people, and people are like, oh, you're a big company, you've got a few vehicles, and you got to, everyone talks about fake it until you make it, and I was like, I've got tons of vehicles, like 8 vans. I had 1 van parked to my mum's driveway. So I like, right, I've just won this big job. It's a 7-bedroom house. How am I going to get a 7-bedroom house in a wee looting van? It's not going to. So I went down, I said, right, I'm going to Arnold Clark. I went and got 2 more vans, hired some rugby boys, got all the right branding on, went to a local sticker vinyl company, they printed me some SSR, Sinclair stickers off. I took all the Arnold Clark stickers off it and I put the SSR ones on it myself in the morning.
So this is a hire van that you've hired for 24 hours?
Yeah.
Right. So you've debadged it?
Put my badge on it.
Okay.
So I rocked up and the guy and like all these vans coming in and they're all coming in with the SSR on them. The guy, he's like, "Oh, you got some of the best new vehicles there, haven't you?" And I said, "Yeah." I said,
"They're all brand new."
"All brand new. I'm the best." I said to myself. So I did the jobs and all that, and I'd go back to Arnold Clark up at Cumbernauld and drop them off, and the women would go, "What's happened to the stickers?"
So you took the SSR stickers off afterwards?
Took them off, yeah, pulled them off after.
And so you took a branded van and then returned it unbranded?
Yeah. And she goes, "Stickers?" I says, "A really bad wind coming down that motorway." She just looked at me like...
Did they not even question it?
She just... I actually did it a few times now, and then I think they said to me, after a couple of times, they said, "Look, can you leave the stickers on the van?" So I went, so you should just then find a way, make the stickers bigger and put them over the Arnold Clark.
And then take it off after?
Yeah, and do it that way.
And I remember a wee white Mercedes kicking about with SSR on it at some point. You said there's a story there.
Yeah.
This is all part of the fake it till you make it story.
Fake it till you make it, right. You got to be honest.
Keep going. Tell us about the Mercedes and the Edinburgh Rugby partnership.
The Edinburgh partnership that I never knew about.
Go for it.
So I was talking to a few of my... I got back, I needed a car, but I needed a decent car. I only had my car, I'd left at home when I came back, which was a wee Renault Clio, which was on the way out. And I thought, I need a decent car if I'm going to go and price these jobs. And I was talking to Edinburgh guys, some of my mates were playing there, and I said, I was like, "Oh, Sinky, we get like an A-class for like 150 quid with sponsorship, and we get like AMG for like 250 or 300 for like a..." And I went, "Do you?" And they went, "Well, it's like, how do you do that?" And they went, "All you do is turn up with your contract and show them the contract and they'll go and get you a car." And I went...
So this is Western Mercedes sponsoring Edinburgh Rugby, and we give any Edinburgh Rugby players a deal on as long as they turned up with a contract.
Yeah.
But you never had a contract?
I had a contract at Stirling County.
So how did you...
So I took my contract at Stirling County. I went into Google. I took the Stirling County badge off, and it was Edinburgh Gunners at the time. So it's not Edinburgh Rugby, so you've rebranded so they can't get me.
Right.
And so I put an Edinburgh Gunners badge at the top of it.
Did you turn up in the full kit?
I had like shorts on for the gym, so I had to make... She was like, "Oh, you playing all right?" I went, "I'm injured at the minute." She went, "All right." I said, "You got your contract, there you go." She looked at it and it still said Stirling County in the small writing and all the stuff there.
Yeah.
She looked at it and she went, "That's fine." And she went, "What car do you want?" I went, "Well, how much is the A-class one there, brand new?" She went, "I'll get that for 150 quid. And I went, "Seriously, deposit?" She went, "No deposit, £150. Should we come back in tomorrow, be ready for you?" I went there and it was all sitting there sparkling in the show, and then off I went and got some Sterling Sinclair branding put on it.
So everything you're turning up to jobs now, you're like you say, you're faking it till you make it. You're turning up in a nice car to price the jobs.
Yeah.
You're turning up with Arnold Clark rental vans with SSR on. Brilliant. And now 22 vans. So talk to us about that process of, like, because that's been how long? 8 years.
Just over 8 years, yeah.
That's decent growth over that 8-year period. Even is that the 22 vans that's across all businesses? Yeah,
22 trucks and vans.
Right.
I think there might be more now, to be fair. I think that was the last figure. Just bought another 2 yesterday. And a couple. So we've got like transit, customs for going out and doing packet jobs. So it probably closer to 26.
Right.
So I've got 4 18 tonnes. 2 15 tonnes, 7.5 tonnes, that might mean nothing to someone, and the rest are 3.5 Lutons. Everyone's bought outright, apart from one's got finance.
And is that's important to you because of what your granddad said to you when you were younger about like not taking on too much finance, is that right?
Yeah, take not too much finance and always have a buffer. Always have a bit to the side that you can always on a rainy day go back on. So, and it's proven right, especially with the economy of the now. The finance is up, people are not on fixed rates, they're paying more, there's more overheads. If we have a bad day, I can look at my yard and I can say I'm not bothered, but every vehicle's there's paid for apart from one, and it's done.
Staff's obviously going to be a big cost.
Yeah.
Does that make you nervous, and what you're doing, like with being responsible for all these people, like how do you feel about that?
I try not to think about it too much, to be fair.
You're on the business podcast now, so you're going to meet it.
I'll look on a Friday and I think, how much money did I not make this Friday? Because I pay weekly. Because I like on a weekly, I spoke about it, I put it on my LinkedIn, I like doing weekly pay. I started out that way, so it's hard to change guys from weekly to monthly when they're organised their finances that way.
Yep.
But I like weekly because when all my money goes on a Friday, I can see how much money I really have made. Because then if you're doing monthly, then depends on how you're counting it, you're then seeing you're getting falls through the month.
Right.
So every week I can react quicker. So then if I see that, well, I've not made this much, I can get on it, keep my eye on it quicker. Whereas if it's monthly, you might not see it till the month after because then all the costs, your outgoings have went.
Aye.
So every Friday I can go, right, fuck, we've paid this much out, we've paid in PYE, paid this men, fuel. This is much I'm left with. That's how much I've got left to reinvest into the business, and that's the way I look at it. So yeah, but
it's interesting because we had David Wither on the podcast, who's the founder of the Montpellier Group.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he reviews has a finance call. I think it's every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Every week, and he's like, we have a finance call every single week. He's like, because businesses that have a monthly finance call, see, if something goes wrong, they can be 6 weeks before they can actually take any action to fix it. He's like, but if we've overstaffed a pub, he's like, I know that we've overstaffed that pub that weekend on the Tuesday, and we can put it and rectify it. Why did that happen? Why have we overspent? Why have we overstaffed? And basically make sure that he's squeezing every penny of profit out of the business. So being able to kind of be all over the numbers.
100%, I think he's right. You've got to be right on it because things go up and down, and you can catch it quicker because that could be a busy period and you want to make as much net profit out as possible. And I do it every Friday, and I can see my guys, if they're down on their hours or over on their hours, I can see, right, this guy owes 20 hours. Right, we put him in next Friday, we can put more hours in for him because he's due that back, or we can work it different. I can say to my manager in the office, this is what we're doing. And then that's allowing growth because I'm just trying to grow everything.
So you've at least 8 different businesses and different brands.
Yeah.
How do you manage all those different businesses and kind of being able to be aware of what's going on in that business, Do you run them as one, but just have different vans? Or is it a case of
I've got 8 hats in the car. Right, it's 1:15. I need to put that hat on.
Quite literally as well. Right.
So I run all the removals. There's 2 depots, main depots for the removals. But there's different guys for different businesses. So they'll be running at the same bit. There'll be an office next door. And
so say for example, if SSR is quieter but Britannia's busy, would Britannia guys go and serve, or would SSR guys go and service?
Yes, exactly.
It's interesting, my mates just bought 2 pubs in Spain, right next door to each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, one there.
Yeah.
And I was like, brilliant, good on you, but why have you bought 2 pubs right next door to each other? You know, you could have had one on the port and one on the beach, so why have you put them right next to each other? And he said, because staff's the most important, the most expensive thing. He's like, and if we've got one pub that's busy and one pub that's quiet, he's like, we can have the same number of staff, basically running it as one big venue, and if it's busy through there, they go through there. He's like, if it's one manager in each, he's like, but then you can kind of staff between, and if there was distance between them, you wouldn't be able to do that. So I suppose you've got that flexibility of being able to, if Britannia needs a hand, you've got guys sitting there from SSR.
We'll send them down to Edinburgh,
Brilliant.
And then vice versa. Larbert Carriers, Glen Transport, we'll move them about. Right, they've got some big jobs that booked in. Right, they need 5 extra guys because sometimes with jobs, the job's too big, we can't do it. No, it's fine. Pull those boys from there, put them there, and vice versa. So
brilliant.
It's I found a way to kind of work it, and it works well, you know. Good. So.
You mentioned Christmas trees to me. You need to tell us. So again, it's another thing that you've seen an opportunity to make a few quid and jumped right in. Yeah.
So obviously I was just looking for extra cash, anything to get more revenue to build organically. So I seen guys doing Christmas trees, and I thought, right. They're making £10 a foot, because I know how Christmas trees work now. It's the rule of thumb's £10 a foot, and 7 foot, 70 quid. So I managed to get hold of a pallet of really good ones and maybe get like 200 and then quite cheap, like £5 a tree, and I was making 70 quid.
Brilliant.
And I was selling them all, making really good money out of it.
How were you selling them?
I was either selling them at the back of my pickup truck, or I'd have them down at my storage removals, or I'd do a Facebook market thing. So people would contact us on Facebook market. My guys would then go out and deliver them to their house while they're on the removal, and they would make the 70 quid. So they'd come back and they'd put a tree out. But I remember because people started saying that's the Christmas tree guy. Because after a couple of years,
you were known as the Christmas tree guy.
Yeah, well, I was sitting in the Rayburn in Edinburgh and somebody came up to me and says, "You sell Christmas trees, don't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do, yeah." And I was like, "Do you have any?" I was like, "I actually do. I've got them in the back of my pickup truck." And I was having a bite to eat with my missus, and she'll be back in a minute. So I went out into the street and got my 7-foot Christmas tree and sat back down again. And yeah, that was it. But I bought over that 5 years, I bought 2 vans out of it.
So you financed 2 vans just for selling Christmas trees at Christmas, obviously.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And it helped, yeah. And then I was getting too busy when it came to Christmas trees, and I actually enjoyed the hustle, and I feel like the sticky bandits from Home Alone.
Yeah.
Like that, like, you know, so.
And at that time, what else did you have going on when you got into the Christmas trees? Was it just the one removals business you had then?
I just got Larbert Carriers, so I had them as well, and I just started to do the self storage.
We're going to talk about the self storage. So
yeah.
Before we move on from the removals, you were telling me about a strategy when you get a guy who starts. You basically give him hell week. Like his first week will be the hardest week.
Yeah.
Can you talk us through that, like the thought process behind it, and what you do and why you do it?
I'll get a lad, and I'll say, right, I need to see what he's made of, because everyone can talk the talk, and I'm good at this like graft. I should see it. So I'd send them to third floor flats and see if they can deliver there. And if they can get through that week, you know, you've got a good guy and keep him, and he's worth the money, you know. So I'd send them there, and I used to get phone calls of guys crawling up the stairs and knackered. And
what percentage of them didn't come back? So
I think,
because I remember I think that was another LinkedIn post that you put up about like basically the amount of people who didn't turn up to work on the Monday after.
I remember coming to the office with a record, and a guy, I was sitting through my main office and the reception, and the guy went out to the job and he came back to drop it. He went to the job, came back when it wasn't for me, and I literally went to open the office door and I'd seen him down the industrial estate, and I went, "Hey, come back here," and he was running to his car.
Oh, really? Well, somebody who'd started that morning packed in.
Yeah, he was. I said, "Where do you go?" He was literally jogging to his car.
Did you get him back in? Or is it a case of not actually that person, it's not for them?
It's not for them, and
even it's hard work, obviously.
Hard is probably one of the hardest jobs going, and I used to go to boys' houses, and I have recently, and I'd pull them out their beds. I'd go and get them from their house. I'd chat out the door. And
the Monday Club.
The Monday Club. I'll go and get the Monday Club back in. I'll do my rounds. I'll go into Alleyoop. I'll go into wherever in Edinburgh. I'll go and get them from their house, and they know that. And then I'll see the curtains twitching. I'll be here all day. And they'll come in, and I remember putting one guy in. He was about 19. Wasn't going to turn up. He was going down to London. Lorry drivers waiting outside. They're phoning me at 3 a.m. He's not answering. He's been out the piss the night before. All right. I live in Edinburgh, so I drove through to Stirling. Got there, chapped the door. His mum answered. He's in his bed. He's been out last night. That's fine. Can I go and get him? Yeah, go and get him. I went, go and get him. Right, grabbed him. Put your stuff. Put in his bag. Pulled him down the stairs, and I went chucked him in the van. And I gave him 20 quid. And the boy Deeks was driving down. He says, the whole way to London, he'd sat there with the 20 quid like that the whole way. He didn't move. I don't know how he knew what happened. He says, "What's the 20 quid for?" For his breakfast. So he never done it. Never done it again. So
you were telling me about this, like how you need to be a certain person when you're selling the removal service.
Yeah.
To a 4-bed townhouse in the new town, versus the way that you need to run the teams and the way that you need to run one business could be different to the way you run another business.
Yeah.
You talked to us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I suppose coming from my background, growing up in Bannockburn, and Like, you're dealing with a certain type. Like, there's lots of good people there, but you've got to be a certain way. And then you're in Edinburgh, going to Loretto, you've got to be a certain way again. You've got the lovely big houses, people. You want people to feel comfortable, so speak a certain way. So, with my guys, look, not that it's always the truth, but if you're too nice and give them too much, just take it as a weakness. So you've got to be a certain way with them. It's a respect thing. It's just old school, and then I've got to then turn it back on, and I'll be like, I'll get changed and I'll look nicer, and I'll go out and see a customer and be like, morning, how you doing? Elizabeth, are you well today? And then they'll be like, yeah, and then I'll be back out the phone and I'll be like, so you got any fucking work yet?
So you turned up here to do the podcast and you're wearing a blue shirt and you went, I'm just going to get changed. You put on your polo and your chile. I was an hour late because I had to go and pick up these microphones because I left them, and Jak texted me saying, he's doing all sorts of work. He's laid some more stones. He's replaced these ropes that were sitting around here. He's properly like never stops. Is that the way you've always been? Is that the way you run your businesses? Like, it seems like when you look at what you do, what you've got going on, you just need to be constantly on the go.
Just think attention to detail. I always look at myself. I look at my businesses as if I'm the customer. I've got to look at it as if I'm the customer, not the owner, because if you see the same thing, you get complacent. And I think, right, what would the customer think? Right, they walk in here first time, your first time here. You want you to think, right, that's good, I'd come back here. So like simple things like the ropes being brand new and clean and tidy, it just adds to your first impression as you come in. Same with my self-storage, my removals, the vans. Like, I make all the flowers for all my self-storage removals place, so I've got hundreds of plant pots all in my self-storage, my removal places, but they've got fake plants in them. They're concreted in, so all year round they look
good,
nice, but your first impression, you rock up, this is nice. So I think that attention to detail is important, because you only get one chance to make a good impression, and after that, you're just clawing it back. So
the self-storage, so we've not talked about self-storage, so we've talked about removals and what you've done there, we've talked about Christmas trees, we've talked about like stickers on vans. Like, the self-storage feels like a very big business in comparison. It feels like a big, like, kind of static, like, and when you drive past these units, they're absolutely enormous. How did you get into that? What made you get into it? And like, has that always been the plan? Did the opportunity just come up? What's the story there?
I think I had my first van. I had a couple second-hand containers, and I thought, I'm putting stuff in here. And I thought, right, people are paying me to store that stuff. I'm not doing anything. It's pretty easy. And storage about 8 years ago wasn't really what people are talking about now. So I thought, I'm going to have a short period to start claiming some sites before the good sites are all taken up. So I started my research, started acquiring ground, different things, and then I wanted to jumped on it pretty quickly. Started off with some used containers, done them up, cleaned them, and then eventually built up. And I started buying every second week of my profit, I would buy a new container, and then I'd done that every second week, bought a new container.
Until eventually you built your own self-storage units, right? Okay.
So now I've got 240 outdoor ones in Stirling, and that's Stirling Self-Storage. And like, even the ground that like it's on, it's right between Sainsbury's and McDonald's. 3 acres, and sitting there for years. Nobody knew about it. 2 years pestered the council to get it, and eventually got it, and then developed it all, and now I've got an indoor one.
You bought that, the indoor one? Or did you build that?
Building that, yeah.
Built it, right, okay. I thought you bought that one.
No, so it's another one.
Britannia?
Yeah, I've bought another one.
Right, okay.
So I'm doing other sites. So I own the ground in Stirling, so I've got permission to do other projects there.
Right.
So yeah, there's different, and then there's different sites. So there's so much scope what to do.
And what kind of percentage is the people moving to then use your storage, and then you've got trades, and what are people using it for?
All sorts. businesses, people moving house, students. So you've got there, especially Edinburgh. I think Edinburgh's like 60% businesses.
Is it? Right, okay.
Yeah. I go down there and I can get kitted out for my clothes. I can get there's Indian shops that hold all their stock in there. I'll never need to worry about a curry again, so I can go down there and they're all great, and you meet so many different characters down there, and it's brilliant because I love speaking to people, as do you, and it's I just go down there for a chat. And there's people doing all different things. You've got Polish shops, you've got Indian shops, you've got all sorts there, and I have a chat to everybody, and it's brilliant. And you have a diverse 2 hours of speaking to all different businesses and places going on. So yeah, all sorts, mate, all sorts.
Right. So we're sitting in a converted. We're sitting in the rain now.
Yeah.
In a converted. So there's a converted storage container here. Converted storage container there.
Yeah.
And this is your cafe that you've opened at your rugby. So you started your career there.
Yeah. So
I'm saying you started your career. You pulled on your first pair of rugby boots there.
First pair of rugby boots, right in that spot right there. 8 years old.
Amazing, brilliant.
I remember going down there pretty nervous, and just a kid. Didn't know what to expect. Wee bit conscious of like there's a lot to say. Like the rugby kids were down here, and you pull into the car park, and there's lots of big fancy cars, and don't know, but should I be here or not? Should be here, and until you get stuck in, and you're stuck in, you know, it's a really good diverse boys from everywhere. It was great. I loved it. So to go full circle. So
you've now got the Bean Tin, which is what is it? A coffee shop, bacon rolls, sitting in the shadow of the Wallace Monument.
Yeah.
So talk to us about this. Like it's not removals. It's not self storage. It's a coffee shop made of storage containers. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So I was going to do something originally for the rugby club, and obviously they had. I was going to sponsor half of it, and they do the other half. I thought an idea with the coffee and how it was going to do. I thought this would be a really good chance for them to make some revenue as well, and me give something back to them. But unfortunately, at the time, they didn't have the funds. So the day before it was all meant to start up, they had to pull out. So I'd paid for all the materials and everything that was meant to go with it, and so I was kind of lumped with it. So I had two options: either try and sell the materials back or have a go at it. So I thought, no, what? I've always wanted to do something like this. I'm going to go for it. But I think people expected me to put a wee coffee thing out there, and it be like.
That's not what this is. As you can tell, that there's a bit more to it than that.
Yeah, and everyone says it's all so much more. So I always had ideas and my creative side and my detail. So like the container. Like even like the container's got Stirling High School's old gym floor on the front of it.
Yep.
The benches are made out of scaffold boards. The other containers, it's got glass frontage. Look, it's a glass box. The view, the Wallace Monument. Every wee aspect. I've got bikes spray painted pink. Right. I've got whiskey batter.
Most importantly, we've just had a red card.
Yeah.
So we've just had a bacon roll. Talk to us about the red card. Don't worry, nobody's going to come after you and sue you. Talk to us about the red card.
There's two things to the red card. So I was in Dishoom and they did spice jam and creme fraiche on the wraps.
The bacon, the bacon naan.
Yeah, bacon naan. So I thought that's pretty good. And then I spent a week deciding what the best roll was. So we found out all the best rolls, what people like. A soft roll, they like the bacon crispy. No, they don't like white on it. So we would identify what is the best bacon roll. It took us a week. It's crispy, it's got a soft roll, it's got butter. You can add something in it, so you make different rolls. So we've got a normal, a red card, and there's a naan better. And the red card, I actually call it the red card because I used to get so many red cards. So just call it red card. So, and you've got the big hammy, which is double bacon, which is a guy who used to play here.
Big Hammy?
Yeah,
right?
Big Hammy.
Right,
his name's Big Hammy, and so it's double bacon. He's a club legend at Stirling County, so we called it the Big Hammy. So it's kind of got a wee bit to do with the rugby club as well.
Right. But when you first wanted to do this?
Yeah, I got an email through from when they pulled out from the manager at the time. and he said to me, he sent me an Excel sheet on how it wouldn't work to
Right.
make any money. And no offence to the guy, he's worked in hospitality, but he's never started a business. So I suppose that's the worst thing you could tell me, because then I'm really going to prove you wrong.
Right, okay.
So I did my research on coffee. I got an unorthodox coffee from Kinross to come in here. Really good coffee. I looked at every aspect of what would make it good. Put another container inside here with sliding doors, glass. I looked at every aspect to make it quirky, different. And so yeah, shortfall of it is it's been on Visit Scotland twice. It's been rated on about 5 bloggers, top 5 coffee pit stops if you're travelling from Scotland. And in its first year, it turned over 139,000 and made £44,000 net profit. So
and you are fairly hands off on this business. You're not sitting here making big nose and coffees. You come here for, you pop in, do a bit of kind of maintenance, and
I do meetings. It's
you have your meetings here.
I have my meetings here, and it's a bit of my sanity place, because removals and storage is quite stressful. So I'll come down here. Got a really good manager at the minute. She's doing a great job, and speak to her. What's the takings? What's going on here? And I'll be honest, I can't even make an artisan coffee. So
this is the thing, there's a bit of like history for you.
Yeah, it's
like,
good.
This was your club. This is where you, like, in fact, you can come down here, sit here, and this is your.
Yeah, I can sit and do emails and sit there and talk to people. I've had so many good business deals here. I've done a lot of my business deals here.
Do you know?
And then
I introduced you to someone just 2 weeks ago, and there's somebody who's in your industry that I was like, actually, you should meet him and have a chat with him. And you sent him back saying, I've got a coffee shop called the Bean Tin. Do you want to come down for a cup of coffee and a bacon roll?
Yeah.
And I just thought, even just being able to invite people down there, it's such a nice invite, rather than all meet you in Costa for a coffee.
Yeah.
To be able to say, come down here. It's it's got a great. It's in a great place. It's got a great view. Sit down, get a bacon roll and a coffee, and I can imagine that's.
Yeah.
You can see how that would work for you, like bringing people in.
It's nice, and like we've had cyclists down. We had the World Championships in Stirling last year, and that was interesting as well, because that really kicked off the Bean Tin as well. We had every international cyclist down here, and and they came down, they shared it, really promoted it.
Did you have the world champion sitting in?
So I came in, and the guy manager at the time said, there's some people over there. I said, I'm going to just make sure they're alright. I said, you on holiday? And they went, yeah, we're on holiday. And he said, you here for the cycling? I went, yeah, I'm here for the cycling. I said, well, I hope you enjoy it. I says, I'm actually just going to cycle myself.
You said that to him, to the cycling world champion?
I didn't know it was world champion at the time.
Right, okay.
And I said, I've just got into it. So just bought all the Rafa stuff, like the top end cycling gear. I've got the pink, tight, the biggest sizes you could get. I bought like a electric gear changing bike, and he was like, I was showing him how, because I used to get a huge size, and I was showing him it, and he was like, oh, that's great, that's brilliant. I'm like, yeah, good. And the manager at the time was shouting me over, he's like, Sinky, come over here. And I went, I'm talking to this guy, he's on his holidays. He went, no, he come here. So he got his phone out, and he's like, see that guy? I went, oh, who's that? He's got 4.5 million followers. And he went, that guy you're talking to? Yeah. I went, yeah. He went, that's the guy you're showing your bike to. He is the world champion cyclist of the world.
So you had no idea that he's sitting there and you're chatting about him showing your bike?
Showing my bike and how proud I am. So I went back over him. He's from Belgium, and I said to him, I'm really sorry, I didn't realise who you were, and he just said to me, I think it's great that guys your size are trying to cycle.
So he shared it on his Instagram story, didn't he?
Yeah, so I said to him, look, new coffee shop, can you share it on your Instagram story? He went, yeah, of course, I'll tag it. So he went and shared it, tagged it. And that day, and for the next 4 days, every Spanish team, the British team, everybody, French team, everybody was down. I didn't know there was a guitar cycling team, but there was a guitar cycling team down here as well.
Really? Okay.
And they were all here. And then they would share it on their stories, and then all the fans were down. And then my mate from South Africa in Cape Town, who's big into cycling, he follows this American triathlon. She was sharing it because it's her safe place, because her luggage got the same, and she put it on her YouTube thing, and she's got like hundreds of thousands of followers. He went, was thinking, is that not your coffee shop? And then she'd
Joker.
shared it, yeah. So I was like that. I said, yeah. So
and you get the dog walkers, you get car meets, you get all sorts of things turning up here for coffees.
I thought there was 10 cars coming, and I got a phone call. The car park's out of control.
Oh, really?
I said, what's wrong? I said, we've got 20 Ferraris and 10 Lambos and all sorts of car meet going on here. And I went,
had you invited them down or approved it or something?
I said to some two guys at 18 that who do car meets, and I thought they'd have 10 wee cars down here. I realised you'd have Scotland's most expensive cars down here. And
so you've just said, come down to my coffee shop and do it there?
Coffee shop, and the club were tearing their hair out, and they're like, but to be fair, there was like, it was Scotland's most expensive car, and everyone was taking photos. It was amazing. Right. It was great, and I don't know, it just seemed to kick off, and they loved it.
Good.
And so it's been great. People loved it, kids and families, and it's special to me because
that's it. The thing is, it makes you money.
Yeah.
You enjoy it.
Yeah.
It gives you somewhere to go and have meetings, and like it can be a wee second office for you if it's somewhere for you to go.
And we've sponsored all the uni teams.
You were telling so the youth teams. You were telling me about your sponsorship of the youth teams and kind of try to give back. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I think we sponsor a lot of the mini teams, the girls teams. There's like 6 university teams we sponsored, and there's one playing just now. The men's.
You can hear them in the background.
Stirling University team sponsored them all, so they'll come in here. We've got the Petanque Club, we've got the Garden Allotment Club, we've got the Cyclist Club, we've got the Mums and Buggies Club come down here. We've got wellbeing, so people that come here for like to get out.
Yep.
So when people talk about community and what goes on, that's for me is everything. And like I haven't even taken a pound out of here yet. I just enjoy being able to see people enjoy themselves. Like, right. And a lot of people actually don't know I own it.
It's one of the things that I've written down. So as we're going through, I kind of take me notes on things that I want to come back to. And one of the things I've written is investing back.
Yeah.
Because all the way through your story, it's like I was out delivering kitchens. I was making 250 quid a morning, and that financed the van.
Yeah.
I was all the way through. I've noticed it 3-4 times that you're going, Christmas trees, putting Christmas trees at Christmas time, and that bought me 2 vans. And it's like, well, it seems like everything that you're doing makes a few quid, and then you go, right, we're going to invest back in that. We're going to invest back in that. What about you? What about do you ever reward yourself, and have you? Is it a case of let's just make as much money as we can to try and like grow the business?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
It's just grow the business, put back in, because.
So you invest most of that straight back in.
Straight back. I've got a buffer there for a rainy day, as you can see. And, I've got a buffer there because it gives me more confidence. But I put a lot back in because since the start I've seen it grow.
Yep. So
kind of proofs in the pudding in terms of like, if you put more you put in the right way, the more you're going to get back, and then the more you're going to have more assets, the bigger company can grow, the more growth you can go. And then it took me so long to get someone to phone me or do something, and now it's just rolling so fast, and people are coming to me and asking things, and it's like I was champing the door 5 years ago for you to call me.
Aye, right.
And but it just shows you, and that is a big secret, and I'm going to continue to do that. I really think in 8 years that I laugh at it and people think, well, are you serious? I'm like, I'm not even scratched the surface. I don't even think I'm 10% there yet.
Honestly, the next question I've got: investing back, and what's next?
Yeah.
So what is next? What's the plan? What's the long-term goal? You're obviously doing all this for a reason.
Yeah.
Sheep farming aside, which we'll come back to, but what is the long-term goal, and what do you see it becoming?
I think I'm not going to talk about just now. I'll talk. I've got something in the pipeline that's bigger in removals and self-storage.
In that space, or that, did you say in or than? You said you've got something bigger in removals.
In near that space.
Right. Okay. Right. That's interesting.
And it will be bigger than all of it combined. So I've got lots of plans, and I want to keep reinvesting into my storage, my removals. I love the coffee shop. I'll do another one.
I was going to say, it's the type of model that you could definitely
I could pick it up and take it anywhere. I love that, enjoy it. But I don't know, I was saying this on the phone to Belinda that you know,
Yes.
we do, and I says, I just enjoy it. I'm just enjoying it. Like I was up this morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, North Berwick, in the sea, went a run in the sea. I don't know how long you'll have that kind of spark, like you've got it, you know, like, and you're just enjoying everything you do. So, and seeing things work out, and it's no the money. The money's important, but just seeing it start from A and getting to B, then getting to C, and seeing it develop. I'm just enjoying all those processes.
What about when it doesn't go that easy? Right. So obviously you've got the ups and downs. You've got the having to drag people out their beds. You've got people who might not pay or whatever those kind of business problems are. How good are you at detaching yourself from that and dealing with that?
I've got better at it.
Right.
I think I wasn't great at the start, and I learned kind of the hard way, like anything. So it's learning. Right, nobody's died. Don't get stressed about it.
Do you think the sport element comes through? The reason I asked the guys to be inspired, be inspired clothing, they were professional football players.
Yeah.
We had them on the podcast, and they were telling us that one of the things that one of their coaches used to say to them all the time is, don't get too high and don't get too low.
Yeah.
So they could score a goal and be like, I'm the best in the world, and then the next minute they fumble the ball, they give it away, and then concede a goal. And it's like, if you get too high and then you get too low, they said that all the way through their business journey from wherever where they were when they first started to £15 million a year business, they've just been like that. Like they didn't celebrate the wins too much, and they didn't get too worried about when things don't go the right way.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think that's that works for them, and I think it's the same. Maybe without realising, I don't celebrate any of the wins.
Really?
But yeah, I don't. I think I'm just on the next thing. I'm already thinking the next thing.
Yeah.
Like when I bought that acquisition just there, I've already got another acquisition that's just about to go through.
Aye.
And I'm on the next. I was visiting 2 sites today. Like, I'm out in the car and I'm buzzing. I'm just enjoying it. I'm like, next. I get the adrenaline. A bit like from winning a rugby game or in the changing room with the guys after the game or a football game, or I get that buzz from that, you know. And I like putting back into places. Like, there's lots of charities I don't talk about because I don't feel you have to talk about them, but I'm like, I've made a bit from that. Can you sponsor? Yeah, of course I can.
Well, you say you don't talk about it, but I know a story of a donation that you made to, was it grassroots rugby, and the reason why you done that, to give people the opportunity, like you said, like networking and being able to kind of. Can you talk to us just a bit about that?
So there's a couple privileged schools that in like their art block they don't get access to rugby, and they've got a lot of anger and these kids that they're looking for an opportunity, and so the rugby's on the background.
No, that's the whole point of why we thought this was the perfect place to record the podcast.
And I put a container in there, mine, kitted out the rugby kit, and I says, look, now we've got the rugby kit, there's no excuse. So then, so then, at least if 5 kids can get the opportunities I did right there, and then everything that spiralled off of it because of rugby, then that for me that's the result, you know. And I just feel so lucky because I didn't have it in the first place. Like it doesn't bother me. So, and I think you've got a duty to, or especially me, I want kids from similar backgrounds where I've came from and places where maybe as affluent to get an opportunity to showcase or put their foot in the door and get. It doesn't have to be a professional rugby player. It could just be they get the connections and they can go on and do something well, you know.
For anyone who wants to follow you and kind of see what you're up to, where's the best place to follow you and how do they get in touch with
you? I'd probably say LinkedIn these days. So LinkedIn, if you want to see what I'm doing, want to get in contact, look, I'm not always getting it right, but I've done a lot of things wrong and learned from it. So if they want to contact me on there and ask for advice, they're more than welcome to contact me because a lot of good people have helped me on the way. So yeah, get me on LinkedIn and I'll see if I can help them. I'm always posting realistic things. It's not about all the good things. I'm posting like that's what happened today. I went tits up. And then this is how I dealt with it. So it's realistic. So yeah, anybody's more than welcome to contact me and I'll try my best to get back to them.
And if they're in Stirling, pop in at the bean tin for
get to the bean tin for a bacon roll.
For a red card.
A red card and
Right.
a special coffee, yeah. So.
Well, thanks very much for your hospitality
Cheers,
and thanks for your time. Really appreciate you coming on the podcast. I'm sure it's going to give loads of people loads of value.
Yeah.
If you did get a bit of value from this podcast, please do share it with someone who you think will also get a bit of value. Click subscribe, click the like button. Most importantly, drop me a message, let me know what you thought, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Business Playbook.